Hello everyone, welcome to another episode. In today's show, we're going to be talking a little bit about AI, its impact on lead generation, how you can use it to your advantage, and maybe some things that you have to look out for, because as much as AI can help generate more leads, it can also create a little bit of chaos. And in studio today, I have Vikas. How's it?
Yo, nice to be here.
Yeah, man, always nice chatting to you. And I want to say, if you guys enjoy marketing and business content, then maybe consider giving the channel a follow, because this is what we love talking about. We just share our experiences along the way, running an agency as well as investing in our own businesses. And yeah, it's just the untold truths of what we've experienced. And again, this is just our perspective. So take what we say with a grain of salt, maybe look at it from a broad point of view. Everything we say is just purely our own perspective and our own experiences. So that said, we've had some interesting engagements with AI. We've been using it for quite some time now. Most of the time it works like a bomb, but often it can also create a little bit of noise and occasions some chaos.
Yeah.
What do you think businesses need to know about AI, like when it comes to generating leads for their companies?
Yeah, first thing, I'd like to maybe just touch on one or two things that, or where the industry is really moving and how that might impact your business over time. I don't think anything AI related or any impact AI related is going to be short term. I think AI is going to gradually seep into more businesses, and that way, my honest opinion is that AI is going to make businesses that adopt a lot more competitive, because to a large extent that's going to reduce their overheads just and make them leaner businesses, so they can afford to spend more money on marketing. They can afford to be a bit more agile, make decisions a little bit faster, and ultimately, as I said, that's not going to have a huge overnight impact, but I do believe that over time it's going to make businesses more competitive. They're going to be able to be more aggressive with their offerings out there. They're going to be able to spend more marketing, like I've mentioned. And yeah, man, I just see that as the short term, maybe like year to 2 years impact over time that AI is going to have. And the more it develops, the bigger that gap and difference is going to become over time naturally. And then yeah, man, I think another thing is just speaking to what AI solutions local businesses or lead generation reliant businesses could adopt to now to stay ahead and to possibly just adapt a bit faster than anybody else.
Yeah, I literally had a conversation with someone 8 months ago, and they are in the tech education industry. So they build their own tech and host their own education platforms, accredited education. And what was interesting is that his workforce, I think there used to be like 20 to 25, 30 people around there across all the companies that they own, which is quite lean already. And when I spoke to him about AI, he said that they've already reduced their workforce to almost half. So they are like 12, 13 people now. And it was quite fascinating, because I think some industries, there's a direct and immediate impact in terms of profitability and efficiency. Other industries might take a little bit longer, depending on the complexity of those businesses and industries, etc. But for today's topic, let's stick to lead generation and how AI can optimize lead flow, help you convert more leads into paying customers and clients as well. And maybe also let's just talk about some of the things that people need to look out for, that you need to be aware of, little nuances that can obviously impact how effective the AI is at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think the first thing that we can maybe touch on is just the fact that one of the most important things when you are running any marketing, or when there's any communication that happens to front-end leads or people inquiring for your services, the first thing is just how fast you get to those leads and how effectively you follow up with those leads, and then how well you do it as well to actually get those people into the next step of that sales process. So whether that's getting them to request a quote, getting them to ask for more information, etc., etc. So one of the first AI solutions really is having some form of almost like a conversations bot that could have those conversations up front, because now you don't need somebody who constantly watches when a lead comes in, immediately calls that lead when it comes in, and then obviously you also don't need that person also doesn't, or the AI doesn't already has all the context of your business to have the appropriate conversations with them upfront, and is able to then push them to the next step in the sales process. Should you program that correctly. And ultimately, that's just the first AI solution that I've seen most local or more lead generation based businesses start to adapt. It's just that front end conversation part.
Speed to lead,
Yeah,
really.
which just helps you speed to lead and, just push people immediately into the next step of your sales process. Because now you don't have to wait on anybody to, get to your leads or to start actioning those leads and start having conversations with those leads. And it makes a huge impact on your bottom line at the end of the day if you just have that system in place. Like we've seen increases in conversion rates, we've seen just increases in lead engagement, all of that, which is super positive, where in the past there was a person in charge of that, and when that person is sick, off, or when that person is tired or just
demotivated,
sometimes they just we know how it is from a staff perspective, like the motivation is not always there. So that's the first thing that just makes a huge difference.
So speed to lead obviously is a big thing when it comes to converting more leads. Like there's so many studies out there that prove time and time again that the quicker you respond to leads, the higher the probability of someone saying yes to your business. So obviously that is a great solution. On the flip side of that is like having a salesperson 24/7 hyped up on Red Bull, ready to respond to the necessary queries. Another thing that we've also seen with just people in the company, not just this company, but any company that we've worked with, is that if you're responsible for managing leads, you have to first gain context to the business. It's your first day at the company, you now got hired, you've got your salary, this is your task that you have to do. You first have to understand the nuances of the industry, you have to learn the services and understand how to handle objections. And then after a year or two, let's say you move on, you get upgraded to another role, or you leave the company and you have to replace that person with someone else. And that then takes another 2 or 3 months to get someone up to speed. The nice thing about AI is just it stays up to speed and it continues to learn and has all the nuances in the context of the business itself. And you can, like you said, train that bot in order to handle the necessary objections accordingly in order to help push that person to the next commitment. And I think the last point I want to make is like what people don't always understand is that e-commerce is very different to lead generation.
Yeah.
Because e-commerce is I can go to the site and I can get the information I need and I'm going to buy what I want to buy when I feel comfortable to buy it, and then I'm going to leave. With lead generation, it's a bit more complex because there is certain steps that needs to happen. You have to go from point A to point B. You have to go from point B to point C. And usually there are conversations involved in every single point.
Yeah.
Where with online, there's no conversation that really happens. Yes, there are people who ask questions about the product or service or whatever it may be. From an online perspective, that happens. But that's the minority. Most people go, is this the shoe I want? Yes, it is. Add it to basket and I'll leave. So there are micro commitments that needs to happen, but those micro commitments don't involve certain levels of conversation.
Yeah.
And I think that's where most, sorry to interrupt you, but that's where most companies fall short on the lead generation side, is that those conversations need to take place in order to push someone further. And the longer it takes to have those conversations, whether it's asking someone about the business so you can qualify them about the next step, or whether it's sending a quote or following up with the quote, every engagement that takes longer than it should just delays the whole sales process.
And like we've also discussed before, that requires dedicated attention, which a lot of businesses also don't get right. It's like, you have somebody who does that, or you do it sometimes, or there's a receptionist that does it sometimes, but she also gets busy. So there's, when there's split focus on something like your lead flow, and there's
lack of accountability as well.
Yeah, there's lack of accountability, tracking. There's a lot of things that plays into that. But, I don't want to elaborate too much on that. So from my side, that technology, and I know a lot of people will say like, yes, but AI is still very new, like, it's nuanced because my business is so much different, and I get that to an extent, but AI and the technology is at such a point now where that's actually become a really effective solution nowadays, because it uses something called conditional logic to not only dynamically qualify upfront leads, so you can set a criteria for qualification, and when that lead when that bot at any point has the information to qualify that person, it can completely skip steps and just move towards getting that booking, or getting the information that it needs. So it's also conditional and follows the flow of the actual conversation as well, which makes it so powerful. It's not just a random bot that's gonna annoy people and ask the same question 2 or 3 times because it didn't get what you said.
It can almost
prior.
think for itself a little bit.
It can think for itself, and that's really the power behind this technology. So prior to where we are right now, like a year or 2 ago, this wasn't possible. But this, as I said, this has come a long way, and it's been proven really powerful.
So speed to lead is the one benefit, right? It's you're going to be able to engage with leads a lot quicker and more effectively when they come in. what will be the next value add that you think AI can really assist with?
So to extend, just the chatbot thing and space and, technology and what it can do is like, you can also apply the same thing to getting a bot that replies actually to your DMs on socials and to, even comments on your social media pages, which is nothing new really. But, that's also something that it can extend to when you look at the marketing spectrum. And then also one thing, especially in e-commerce, that's been really prominent is just entry-level support, entry-level AI support bots, which has also become really helpful, and that's also come a really far way in terms of just conditionally replying to people and managing those expectations and stuff. So there doesn't have to be a human to do that anymore, really. So yeah, just extending on the old chatbot kind of like narrative.
Yeah. So what I mean, like, what would be the next value add? Like, so we understand that you can plug in your socials, and now obviously you can reduce your necessary workforce that can manage that for you, which is great. The speed to lead thing is obviously really crucial. Is there any other benefits to it, like from an automation standpoint, like from a quoting standpoint? Can it help with quotes? Like, is there any specific examples that we've maybe implemented? Is there examples that we can use, for people to get to better understanding of how we've used it ourselves for the certain businesses that we might be involved in or clients that we have?
I think almost always this forms part of a bigger ecosystem, right? So the chatbot has a certain goal that we wanted to achieve. And depending on your business, that would either be to collect quoting information, so you can send that onto your team on an automated basis. So they don't have to converse with any leads. They just get the information and, they can then send quotes back to clients. Or if it's a bit of a more nuanced business, that's probably the best way to go about it. But you can also give the bot all the context of how to quote, what to ask for, etc., and it can give estimates to them. And once somebody says, yes, this looks good, it could take the next step or notify somebody in your company, and then a salesperson can give them a call. So those are more practical ways to implement it. But if you are a booking-based business, what it can also do is directly book it into your calendar, check your availability, book a slot into the calendar, and make sure the client knows what slot it's been booked, and get a nice appointment confirmation. So those are more practical ways if you want to kind of like use it as an end-to-end kind of like system, really.
Yeah, I love it. I think speed to lead crucial. What I'm hearing you say, the second thing is like it can qualify whether this prospect is actually someone who's a fit for the business or not. And then if it is a fit for the business, he or she, whatever, then it can either assign the conversation to a real human who can take it further, it can make a booking, or it can direct it to the necessary page wherever, that page
it's really dynamic to your business.
That's
and
really cool.
What your needs are.
I mean, where would these conversations take place from your point of view? Because I know there might be people sitting here like, cool, but where does this happen? In the air, on the website? And maybe so where does the conversation happen, and which platforms do you think is the best place to have these conversations as well?
Well, we are based in South Africa, right? And I think WhatsApp is widely used. I think most people use WhatsApp in the country. So the best place just to have these conversations are on WhatsApp to qualify people quickly, because everybody checks their phone for WhatsApps, and it's kind of like the go-to platform to get a response and to communicate. So these platforms just plain and simply happens on WhatsApp. We've also seen the biggest conversion rate on WhatsApp, as opposed to, you have two options really. You have WhatsApp and you have text message, but I think WhatsApp's been proven the more effective one between the two, really.
Okay, so what I'm actually hearing you say, and what we've discussed up until now, it's more of a conversational AI. It's people having conversations with a bot, and I think it's important. What is your take on this? Do we tell people it's an AI tool, a bot, or do we pretend it's human? Because I'm always from the more transparent side and just saying, hey, I am a bot. However, what is your take on that? Because a lot of people would want to disguise the fact that it's AI and maybe make it sound like a real human.
I think to a large extent, if it's really simple, if your business is really simple and there's just a booking that needs to happen and clients have the same 2 or 3 questions, I think it's easy to disguise it. But if it's more nuanced, like what I've seen with our business, and actually we have the same system implemented within our marketing agency, and we are actually transparent of the fact that it's an AI, because marketing conversations are a lot more nuanced. And we are upfront with the fact that this is the AI bot, and the whole goal of this bot is to help you get some information so it can help you book a call, and we're transparent about that. But when they want to speak to a human, we ask them at some point when we divert from the conversation or from the general flow. The AI is also programmed to ask, hey, look, this is probably out of the scope. Would you like us to put you in touch, or would you like to be put in touch with a human so we can,
take it further
from there? So it highly depends on the complexity of
Sure.
your business, really, if that helps.
Yeah, it makes complete sense. I think a lot of people always wonder, should we disguise it, should we not? And then when you try and disguise it, you get caught out, and then people go, I want to chat to a human, and they get upset and stuff like that. So that was just a interesting thought on my end. So we've got conversational AI, whether it's DMs, whether it's speed to lead, inbound leads, etc. What other elements of lead generation is important, and can AI assist with from your point of view?
From a marketing perspective, like, I'm just also thinking about how we are using it in the agency, and how we're using it to actually service clients and actual real businesses. And one of it is just having specific GPTs built for your business. And a GPT is basically a custom version of ChatGPT with a certain set of instructions. So it still uses a ChatGPT database, but it just looks at it from a different lens, and the lens is what you kind of like give it. So if you give the GPT the lens of, this is my audience, this is basically how I want to speak to my audience, and these are certain rules that I want you to follow, it's going to still use its database, but it's going to follow, it through the lens of you want it to follow. So that is very useful for any business reason. I think all businesses should have a GPT built for themselves for certain purposes. Like, if you build a GPT for a marketing purpose, it's going to exactly know who your audience is. It's going to exactly know, your style of messaging, your brand tone, all of that stuff. And it's just easy to get post content from it. Like, literally anything you need from a marketing perspective, it's going to, filter through the lens that you want it to filter and give you very accurate outputs. And it's going to take very minimal effort to refine that. And that's going to save you heaps of time, because now you don't have to use it, the normal ChatGPT, which still takes time to prompt.
You have to start from scratch almost every second.
Exactly, and this just helps you not to start from scratch every time that you want something done. And it's fairly accurate. It's scary how accurate that produces content. And if you want to take it a step further, you can even go to competitors or go to videos and stuff you really like, go descript those videos, upload it to ChatGPT, and tell ChatGPT that you want to write videos or content or whatever similar to this style. And every time you then ask your GPT to write a let's say just a video script, it can do that according to a framework that actually works, and that you kind of like saw from
increasing the probability of the video performing well, because you've literally taken it from a winning recipe.
Exactly. So again, you can apply that in so many different ways. Like, it's not even worth going into that, but that's also just a great way to use it.
And another thing, I think what I've seen is AI is getting so great at creating content as well. Like, is that something that you think lead gen businesses, obviously, I'm assuming from an ad point of view, from a just normal content generation, whether it's organic, social, whatever, that's crucial, and it can help you save so much time as well.
Yeah, there's plenty of creative tools that can dynamically, if you give it examples and stuff and you tell it exactly what you want, it can dynamically generate, I know from an e-commerce perspective, it can generate beautiful product images. I think it can generate, if you give it enough guidance, like, you will be able to generate proper creatives from certain AI tools and stuff. And that's also come a really long way. And it's not just for organic posts or ads, you can use that. There's even like UGC hubs, where you can get UGC videos, which is basically user-generated content generated, through AI, which you can just layer into your ads or, your organic content to make the brand also look more credible. So you don't have to go and pay a creator to get those things done, which, can be 2 to 3K per creator to just get a simple, video. And you can get that with an AI tool and paying less than $500 for that AI tool. So again, it just helps your business looks bigger, looks more credible, and there's many AI solutions
through which down.
Which you can save money. Again, like, the whole point of using AI is to be leaner, save costs, and be more competitive from a marketing perspective, really. Both in looks and then also cost-wise, because the more you can spend in marketing, the better you'll do at the end of the day, in my opinion. And that's just what AI allows you to do.
So in conclusion, I mean, what do you think are the must-haves for a lead gen business when it comes to AI?
I think starting like in 2025, if I had to, start a business from scratch, or if I ran, we do run a local business, funny enough. But what we do basically utilize primarily is, the appointment setting bot, just a front end lead nurturing bot that constantly pushes leads into the next step of the sales process. We still have a human monitoring those things, but the input is like 90% or at least 90% less than it would have been. And then secondly, just a custom GPT for the business that just has the custom avatar and a bunch of basics, so we can easily and quickly churn out marketing content should we need to, and churn out posts and just stuff like that. And then just exploring how else you can improve your brand by AI generated creatives and UGC videos and stuff like that, because that's not only going to help you from an organic perspective but also from a paid perspective to make your ads a bit more interesting and a bit more dynamic, and it's going to definitely stand out from everybody else that does not utilize those things. So it gives you speed, you're quicker on leads, it gives you speed when you churn out marketing stuff, and it just overall makes you more competitive, and you reach out to leads a lot quicker, and all of those things combined could definitely give you an edge and save you money.
Love it, man. I think that was quite valuable. I hope you got some value out of it as well. And then I think from my side, I just want to say thank you for watching. Bex, thank you for coming in today, man. That was pretty cool. I enjoyed that conversation. And then, feel free to like and subscribe for more content like this. And in the meantime, cheers. All the best.
Cheers.